welcome to the deep dive. You've brought us some really fascinating excerpts today from Carley Fortune's novel, Meet Me at the Lake,
Yeah, I'm excited to get into them.
and we're excited to unpack them with you. It seems like you were really drawn to how it explores these unexpected paths, finding your way home when life just completely throws your plans off course.
Absolutely. That's really the core of it, I think.
So our mission for your deep dive into these materials is to pull out those compelling nuggets of knowledge, those insights that resonated with you, and maybe a few more you hadn't considered yet. All wrapped up in a story that, well, it twists and turns in some pretty surprising ways.
Definitely. And what's striking right away, from the very beginning, is how Fortune sets up this feeling of being completely off course.
Yeah.
We meet Fern Brookbanks, and she is definitely not where she thought she'd be.
No, it's this really visceral sense of being trapped, isn't it? We find Fern back at the Brookbanks Resort in Muskoka.
Which is this place she thought she'd escaped for good.
Exactly. Only pulled back because her mother, Margaret, tragically died in a car accident involving a deer. She actually thinks, it's Brookbanks Resort I've failed to get away from.
Mm-hmm. The whole place just feels heavy for her, like a
Okay.
total contrast to the city life she'd chosen.
And it's not just a physical return, is it? It's deeply emotional, psychological, too. She's grieving. She can't sleep.
Right, waking up consistently around 2:02 a.m., that specific time.
And her ex-boyfriend, Jamie, he's a resort manager, seems to love the place more than she ever did. He's kind of gently pushing her to engage, greet guests.
But you can feel her resistance. She knows stepping out there, doing that, makes her mother's absence starkly real. She says, it's official, mom is gone, and I am here.
Oof. And that detail about the dress she puts on,
Yeah.
the ill-fitting canary yellow one that belonged to her mother, that really stuck with me.
Yeah, it's such a subtle but powerful way to show how uncomfortable she is. Like she's trying to squeeze into a life that isn't hers anymore.
Meanwhile, Jamie, well, he's the pragmatist. He's worried, and rightly so, about the resort's finances, something Margaret had always shielded Fern from.
Peak season, but rooms are empty. The accountant's calling. The situation's clearly dire.
And Fern feels this huge pressure. She mentions feeling like she's regressing, almost back to being that reckless teenager, but now trying desperately to be the responsible daughter she maybe hasn't been since high school.
And it's right into this really raw, uncertain moment that Fortune drops in that classic unexpected path element.
Yeah, a surprise guest arrives, a new resort guest, and Fern, even though she really doesn't want to, has to check him in.
And the way she recognizes him, it's slow, drawn out.
It really is, isn't it? She sees this tall guy, handsome, in a suit, hair slicked back. Totally not what she remembers.
It takes her a second look, doesn't it? Her eyes land on this tiny scar just below his lip.
And boom, just like that. The past, the present, all those what-ifs, they just collide.
It's Will Baxter, the guy she hasn't seen in 10 years, looking completely different.
And that moment, it's like a perfect pivot. It sends us straight back to Toronto 10 years earlier where it all started.
Right. Fern's a university student then, working at this coffee shop, Two Sugars.
And Will Baxter's there too. He's an artist, painting a mural right in the coffee shop.
Fortune makes him sound really magnetic, describes his posture as unslumpy, his laugh bright and popping.
Yeah. And their connection, it feels immediate, almost like it was meant to be. Fern does this special Fern latte art just for her favorite customers.
And she makes one for Will without even really thinking about it.
Exactly. It's like this little unconscious signal, isn't it? A hint of the bond that's already forming.
And that bond, it really takes off during this one unforgettable day they spend exploring Toronto together.
Oh, Fortune paints those scenes so well. Sharing a joint in Graffiti Alley.
Wandering through the AGO, the Art Gallery of Ontario.
Kensington Market. She calls it a steadfastly ramshackle neighborhood. You can just picture it.
And these scenes, they aren't just plot points. They really show you how comfortable they are together, their shared curiosity.
And his personality comes through in these little details too, right?
Yeah.
Like his backpack covered in pins from places he's traveled, Seattle, Amsterdam.
Yeah, establishes him as this free spirit.
But then there's that other pin, that sort of old-fashioned oval brooch with a lemon embroidered on it.
Right. Turns out his girlfriend, Fred, made it for him. And he loves anything lemon.
It's such a clever bit of characterization. It hints at his existing ties, but also shows another side of him.
And it creates this immediate tension, this conflict for Fern, doesn't it? Especially since she's already dealing with her strained long-distance thing with Jamie.
Yeah, she's avoiding Jamie's calls because she can't even put into words how miserable she feels about having to go back home eventually.
And that whole day leads up to their big plan, the one-year plan.
Will, the artist, Wants to be broke, focused on his comic roommates, no office jobs, no ties.
And Fern wants to stay in Toronto, open her own coffee shop.
So they make a packed meet at the lake in exactly 1 year.
The question that's haunted Fern ever since, the thing keeping her up at 2:02 a.m.,
The big what if.
is that Will didn't show up. He just vanished, left her waiting.
Yeah. A total ghosting, basically,
Yeah.
leaving her feeling completely abandoned.
And that absence has shaped her next decade, which makes his sudden reappearance at Brookbanks Resort. Well, it's not just a surprise. It changes everything she thought she knew.
That's a really powerful way to put it. Because Will isn't just a guest, is he?
No. Turns out Fern's mother, Margaret, actually hired him as a consultant.
Right, to help the resort, which is struggling, to modernize, figure out growth strategies.
And Fern notes how formal and practiced he seems now in his corporate gear.
It's such a stark contrast to the artist she knew. Almost painful. And it just deepens the mystery of why he disappeared back then.
And it's also a really bitter pill for Fern, finding out just how bad the resort's financial situation really is, how much her mother hid from her.
You really get a sense of Margaret's dedication, though. Visiting the dining room every night, knowing all the guest details.
Even dying because she insisted on getting ice herself, something she could have easily asked someone else to do. It just shows the weight she carried.
And this connects to another layer Fern starts uncovering, doesn't it? This really deep, kind of non-traditional love story.
Between Margaret and Peter, the resort's pâtissier, yes.
What gets me about that is Peter's quiet confession. He says he fell in love with Margaret the day they met, and then just waited, sometimes for decades.
It's this incredibly steadfast, quiet devotion, a real contrast to Fern and Will's more dramatic, what-if kind of story.
And Peter's grief now, it's palpable, isn't it? The quietness, no music in his kitchen. It says so much.
Then Fern finds her mother's diary and learns this huge secret that completely reframes her view of Margaret.
Margaret was only 22 and pregnant when she wrote that diary.
And Peter helped her. He encouraged her, helped convince her parents it was okay to travel to have the baby, told her she wasn't alone.
Wow. That just changes everything. It reframes Fern's own teenage stuff, too, finding the diary back then, lashing out. That hospital stay.
Yeah, all the stuff that left her feeling indebted to her mom.
Now she sees Margaret not just as mom, but as a young woman facing huge choices. It allows for this, retrospective empathy. Really powerful.
So while Fern is unpacking all this about her past and her mother, finding new truths, Will has his own secrets, his own burdens.
Right. Which finally explain why he missed that meeting 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's not what Fern, or probably we as readers, might have guessed.
Not at all. The real reason, the heartbreaking reason, is that his sister, Annabelle, got pregnant when she was 19.
And Will gave up everything. He was in Vancouver at art school, Emily Carr.
Right. He came back to Toronto to support her, to help raise his niece, Sophia. He basically sacrificed his art career for his family.
And this is where the story gets incredibly impactful, I think. Because Will reveals he actually experienced postpartum anxiety himself.
Which the author, Carley Fortune, based on her own experiences.
Yeah. He talks about having these terrible thoughts, disturbing images. He takes medication, went to group therapy. What did you make of that revelation? How it's presented and how it shaped his choices?
Oh, it's absolutely critical to understanding Will. That anxiety plus this huge weight of responsibility for Annabelle and Sophia, that's what led him to ditch his art.
And take that corporate job, the 9 to 5 in an office. Yeah. The exact opposite of his dream.
Exactly. He says he couldn't face Fern back then. He didn't want her to see him changed or not happy. He worried he'd seem selfish if he didn't go back to his responsibilities in Toronto.
It's just devastating, isn't it? How mental health struggles and that sense of duty can force someone to choose responsibility over dreams, even over love.
It really highlights the quiet sacrifices people make.
And you see the reality of that choice in his life now.
Yeah.
Living with his sister and niece, cooking for them, finding joy there too. Despite everything, it's just a very different Will.
Which all kind of comes to a head during that really tense dinner at the Rose's cabin. Fern and Will are forced together, and the air is just thick with unspoken things.
Until Annabelle just asks him straight out, doesn't she? Why he dropped off the face of the earth 10 years ago.
Creates so much tension. And it pushes Will to admit out loud how much that day with Fern meant. He says it was the most exciting thing that happened to me.
But the real kicker, the moment of raw clarity for Fern, comes later.
Yeah, when she finds his sketchbook.
With drawings of her. And specifically that one drawing.
Of her on the dock, waiting, wearing the hat she'd packed for him.
Confirming he was there 9 years ago. He watched her wait.
Ugh. It's this moment of absolute betrayal for Fern. She feels this intense rage.
Understandably. He saw her pain and still didn't reveal himself. But amidst that anger, it also forces her to confront the depth of what he was hiding, doesn't it?
Exactly. It makes her grapple with the weight he was carrying then and maybe still carries now. It's not just about his past actions anymore.
For me, that felt like the real turning point. Not just for Fern, but for both of them. It's like the catalyst for them to finally drop the defenses,
Yeah.
face the realities, and actually consider what a new past might look like.
Yeah, it's like a breath of fresh air after all the secrets.
So, after all that,
Mm-hmm.
the revelations, the self-discovery, does Fern manage to forge her own path? Does she find a new kind of home right there in the place she resented?
She absolutely does, and that's key. She decides to stay at Brookbanks, and this is crucial on her own terms.
Not just stepping into her mother's shoes.
No, she says it explicitly. I don't have to drink my coffee like Mom did, and I don't have to run the resort like her either. It's not just acceptance, it's reclamation. She's taking ownership.
And you see her doing things that symbolize that shift, right? Like quitting her old Toronto job filter.
Buying a French press instead of using her mom's pod machine.
Shopping for work clothes that are her style.
Yeah, she's actively redefining herself within that space and embracing this new, more complex understanding of her family, especially her bond with Peter, and that more nuanced view of her mom. It's about finding autonomy even within a situation that felt predestined.
And what about Will? Is there redemption for him? A renewal?
There is a really profound one, actually. He finally comes clean with Fern, tells her everything about the anxiety, why he didn't show up, shares that burden he's carried for so long.
And Fern, in return, actually helps him reconnect with his art, doesn't she?
She does. He starts drawing again, reclaiming that vital part of himself he sacrificed. And that little tattoo he gets, the fern frond on his wrist,
Yeah.
it feels like more than just a nod to her or their connection. It's like a symbol of his own artistic spirit coming back to life, a commitment to being his whole self again.
And her 5-part plan for him to win her back. It's interesting because it's not about big romantic gestures.
No, it's about rebuilding trust and identity. 2 key parts are be honest, no more secrets, and keep drawing, don't give up art again.
So transparency and encouraging him to hold on to that part of himself.
Exactly. It's a demand for honesty, but also this gentle push for him to reclaim what he lost.
And their story shifts then into something new. A long-distance relationship, but built on that honesty.
Open communication. Will visits whenever he can. He starts to fit into her world at the resort.
Even gets Peter's approval, apparently, by cooking for them.
Yeah. And his bond with Sophia, his niece, stays strong. You see the strength of the family unit he created out of necessity.
It feels like their individual journeys, which were so full of secrets and detours, ultimately lead them to a place of real belonging. They reconcile with their pasts, embrace who they are now.
And that scene in the epilogue, Fern's pregnant, writing in a diary for her own baby girl, and she refers to Will simply as your dad. It's incredibly moving.
It really is. And it sends such an important message too, doesn't it? That dealing with mental health challenges like Will's anxiety doesn't mean you can't be a wonderful, loving parent.
Absolutely. And Fortune makes it clear they have a plan, a realistic one. For if Will's intrusive thoughts resurface, it's not a fairy tale ending where problems just disappear.
No, it's one built on understanding, awareness, and conscious effort, a mature kind of happiness.
And what's so fascinating stepping back is how Meet Me at the Lake really shows us that, yeah, our best laid plans can completely fall apart, but sometimes that unraveling leads somewhere richer.
To more authentic connections, a
Yeah.
deeper sense of self.
Exactly. Fern and Will's journey is such a powerful reminder that home isn't always about a place. It's about the people you choose to share your life with, your vulnerabilities, and accepting who you really are, maybe flaws and all.
Which really brings up a question for you listening right now. What plans have you been holding on to so tightly? Plans that maybe are keeping you from embracing an unexpected path that could actually be more fulfilling.
Yeah, how might letting go of who you think you should be, or maybe who you should have been, open you up to a future that actually fits who you are right now in this moment?